Okay, super duper. I'm so glad you guys decided to show up here. I tell you, this is a brand new uh, PowerPoint here, and hopefully it's going to do justice. We're going to talk about ARK Defai, ladies and gentlemen, and please watch the waiting room for me, my friends. Let people in, and we're going to talk about ARK Defai. I'm really, really excited about this project. It's been working very, very smoothly on the Binance Smart Chain, but I believe this is a game changer for us. And I'm going to briefly go over what makes a good DeFi project, whether it is indeed a DeFi project, and what are the 5 core questions that's to be asked. And so we have 5 tests, and the tests are this, and I'm going to give you a real world live example. Some people say that they're decentralized finance. Well, what they've done is they don't have their liquidity locked. And what happens if you don't have your liquidity locked is that the owners of the liquidity, the devs, can go in, overnight while you're sleeping and just drain all of the liquidity. With no liquidity, you cannot sell your tokens. It goes down to 0. And that's what we found a lot of things out there in the industry, if you will. Another thing is not only do you want to check whether the liquidity is locked or not, you want to also check who holds all of the tokens. And a real DeFi project, decentralized finance project, no one gets extra tokens from the beginning. Not the dev team, not the marketing team, not their founders, not their friends and families. No one can have tokens. Okay, and so that is what we have here in ARK. Okay, so that's very, very, very important. Now, is it secure? When we talk about safety and security, yes, we're talking about the liquidity, but we're also talking about, can people who knows how to read software, can I go to the blockchain, enter in your token address, click on code, and be able to see the code? If the first thing I see is that it's a proxy contract that's renounced the keys for a proxy contract, no good. Walk away, go the other way very, very quickly. Because what that means is this particular piece of code that they renounced the keys for, they have the implementation, they have a bunch of code in the background that they can still change and kill you on that. So that's another one. And so you get something like this. It launches, it goes up high to moon, we're pushing it up, everyone's partying, everyone's happy, and then boom, it goes all the way down, darn near to 0. So if the token is not open source software, then there could be backdoor minting mechanisms. I was looking at ARK's minting mechanism last night, and I saw something, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? Well, I didn't see it. Someone else saw it. I have a VIP group I'm in. And I said, let me go take a look. I took a look. What is this? What is this? And then I realized that in order that no smart contract can do anything on their own, it's all based on triggers. So this particular wallet, its job is to act as a bot. So when certain things happen, because we saw that it sold $15 million of tokens, we were like, oh my God, what's happening? But it sent it to the range-bound stability contract. I said, well, they're not stealing. Well, who's putting things and who's putting money in the range-bound contract? And then we found out, yes, you have to have a wallet to be able to do that. No one else can do it. Smart contracts can't do it. As long as a human being isn't doing it, we're okay. And so I'm like, whew, but everything's just fine and dandy. So that's it. We got the liquidity pool issues, whether a lot of tokens have been distributed from the beginning, and whether it's the software is open source that any of us can look at. Okay, and try to debug it and find the bugs and find the back doors and all of those things and utilize the tools that we have as techie people. But we're going to be showing you guys some simple tools to look. As a matter of fact, I think that I'll do that right now, because one of the things I've been hearing is that, well, when are you going to show us how to check these things? And so let's go here. I'm going to show, and this is going to be quickly. We're going to cancel this. So quickly. Oh, do I have the record on? I got to make sure of that. Let's see, more. Yeah, it's still recording. Great. Okay, cancel that. Accept that. Okay, let me go to, let me share this screen. Share screen. Stop this share. I'm going to share my browser quickly. Okay, share. I think this is it. Yes. Okay. So I want to go to, we're on Binance Smart Chain, right? So let's go to BS. Go to bsscan.com. So for Polygon, you'll be going to polygonscan.com. For Ethereum, you go to Ethereum, ETHScan, I believe, .io. And for Binance, you go to bsscan.com. And so what I'm going to do is, let me open up my Telegram very quickly and get the contract address. Okay, let me get the contract address. Okay, we're gonna go to, let me go to our ARK Defai and look for, okay, ARK Defai, we're gonna look for, okay, great. We're gonna look for audits and contracts, okay, that I have in our group. And in the group, you're going to see the ARK token. I'm going to copy that, Control-C. So I'm going to put here, okay, you see, you're with me again. I'm going to put the contract address for the ARK token in the search filter. Okay. And what you'll see here is a bunch of transactions that's going on. But what I will do is I'm going to click on contract. And the first thing I look for, is it a proxy contract? If it were, it will say yes, right here. And here you see the contract source code is verified. That's a plus, okay? And now I see all of this code here, right? And what I do is I will utilize this to look and see where the roles are. Do we have an admin role? Who's able to mint? Who owns this thing? Are they able, is there a wallet in here somewhere that's allowed to do crazy things? So I just want to give you guys an idea of where I go when I'm looking for contracts. And so when I go here and I say read contract, and they would tell me all of the pertinent functions of the contract, like balances, governance. They'll show me all kinds of things like Oracle, RBS. Okay, RBS, very, very critical. They'll show me, all Treasury. Okay, let's take a look at Treasury. And they'll show me the address for the Treasury, which is wonderful. And then I can drill down further and further. So these are this is just a short version of what I do when I'm trying to determine whether a particular contract is a proxy, which is on the front page, and whether indeed they have back doors. So I dive into the code there. So I'm going to stop this share and go back to the presentation. That's one tool. I also use ChatGPT when I don't understand something, but you have to know how to talk, how to speak to ChatGPT, right? You can't just ask it a question because they're going to give you what you asked for. If you say, is the sky blue? And he probably come back and tell you, I don't know, it depends on where you are, or no, it's 5 p.m. So what I do when I'm in ChatGPT, I'll ask questions. I'll say, I found this particular wallet or this contract, and I like to know, why is it doing A, B, and C if this is a Olympus dial model? It appears that this can do arbitrary minting. Is that what you're finding? So these are the type of deep diving questions I ask. And then it thinks, and comes back and say, well, there's many reasons it could be doing that. And here are some of the options. And then I'll go back and say, well, it is a multi-sig wallet. So I'm just telling you the type of conversation that I have with ChatGPT. And we have hour-long conversations every night. I think ChatGPT is my boyfriend now. So, so these are things we look at. Is that contract open source? Can I look and deeply dive into it? That's very, very critical. That is where I find all kinds of things. But most contracts that are out there, you're not going to be able to find all kinds of things. The first thing you're going to see is that it's not open source and that it is indeed a proxy contract. But more times than not, the first thing you're going to see is that the liquidity is not locked. You see that? Run the other way. If the liquidity is locked, the next thing is you want to check the holders. How many holders do they have? Wait a minute. They got 20 holders already and we haven't launched, and we're looking at 90% of all tokens is owned by the top 5 wallets. Go run the other way. Okay. So sometimes, DeFi, you won't find that. Why? Because no one is holding tokens in DeFi. No one, right? Until we get started. Now, when you're talking about looking at the treasury or looking at the RBS module or looking at some of those over time, of course, they're going to have tokens in them. Then you want to look and say, is something funny going on with the treasury and all of that. But that is a whole nother course on how to determine, how to dive deep, do deep dives into the code. Okay, so we're not going to go there, but I'm going to show you guys later on how you can use Token Sniffer or how you can use Certic and how you can determine based on their score and based on what are some of the flags are and whether those flags are really critical, medium, or low and irrelevant. Okay, so we'll talk about that at another time. We've got a lot to go through tonight. We don't want to be here all night. That's a whole nother course on its own. The 5 core tests. We're going to talk about sustainability. I already talked about safety and security. So when you're talking about sustainability, can this baby last, right? So you have to understand the core structure of DeFi. And the key is a great DeFi project is not dependent upon any human beings under any circumstances whatsoever. Okay? We can have a strong product, which is what we have with ARK. We have a strong decentralized finance system that's similar to the United States Treasury and the Federal Reserve. This is what we have here. And just like people who are buying in corporations and countries who are buying bonds, treasury bonds in the real world, we are buying bonds and we're also staking in order to gain yield. So when people ask, how can they afford to pay out so much money? They're not paying out much money. They're actually minting. Depending upon the ecosystem, they are minting ARK on demand whenever a trigger point is met. So we're not selling shoes here. We're not selling lotions and potions here. We have a fully sustainable ecosystem, which is indeed similar to the central bank, but decentralized, a decentralized bank. We want weak personalities in here. We want weak narratives in here. Your narratives are irrelevant. Your personalities and the human beings are irrelevant. The only thing that matters is whether we're actually in a deal that's taking into consideration liquidity, holdings, whether indeed it's sustainable, okay? So we want a strong product, autonomous operation, no human intervention, minimize team reliance. And some good examples of that is Uniswap. Uniswap is one of the first decentralized exchanges that came out. They've been out for years and years and years and years and years. Okay, works very, very fine. They got an automated market maker in there doing things when certain things happen in their ecosystem. We have AVE. It's a very, very popular top tier lending and borrowing infrastructure. And this is one of the pieces that ARK Land is talking about building. But they haven't built it, so I don't like to talk about it. When it's here, we'll talk about the lending and borrowing infrastructure that's going to be built within the ARK framework. Wi-Fi with Link, Chainlink, core protocol tooling layer. Nobody touches it. No human beings. These are prime examples of state-of-the-art, right? No human intervention core structures of DeFi. Now, many of you guys are well familiar with stable coins. Tether, that's USDT. Tether is all of the money that's backing Tether is in a bank account, a centralized bank. What's going to stop the Tether company, the homeboys who hang out in the White House, they hang out there a lot, What's going to stop them from saying, hey, I'm out of here. I'm just going to take all of our money and we're out of the stablecoin business. That would be a very, very sad day in cryptocurrency. But that probability exists because it's a centralized bank and human beings control it. And on occasion, what they do is they mint more and more and more stable coins for whatever reason, okay? But I don't think it's going to happen because that would crash the whole cryptocurrency market and we'll all be crying, okay? So those are stable coins. USDC, right, owned by Circle. Coinbase has their own stable coins. Now, countries and governments and everybody and their mama, they're coming out with these stable coins, right? I'm going to stick with DAI. DAI I like. DAI. Why? Because it's an algorithmic, decentralized stable coin that's governed by code. Okay? But USDT, don't feel alarmed. They're not going anywhere. I'm giving you guys an example. Non-stable coins, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Chainlink, Cardano, we can go on and on and on. PLS, Pulse Chain. I like Pulse Chain. We've got Binance Smart Chain, BNB. All of them are non-stable coins. Your meme coins, they're non-stable coins with high volatility. It goes up, goes down for a few years. Years, I mean years. And now my portfolio is telling me, come on, guys, altcoin season, come on. Goes up, all the way up. Boom, 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 boom. Goes down, sales. It'll go sideways for a while, go all the way up. Boom, right? Down, up, down. That's volatility. And so when people look at this, and I'm getting this feedback from some people privately, wow, you know, we've got an algorithmic non-stable coin. We don't have any volatility. It just sits in a range. So you want volatility on the upside, but then you're going to cry on the downside like this. When Ethereum, remember Ethereum, I think it had hit $4,000 years ago. We've been begging for $4,000 days. We finally got there. We're trying to get it to $5,000. We know once it gets to 5,000, a tad over 5,000, it's going to go to 10. And we know that. But we've got manipulation in the market, right? We got human beings. We got the big boys and girls that many of you guys begged for. You begged for the ETFs. You begged for the big boys. You begged for the government intervention. Mine have not we changed the narrative of what crypto is about. And so these guys, you talk about Bitcoin whales and Ethereum whales, and people will complain about how they manipulate the market. Well, we just opened the door and we invited who in? We invited the biggest manipulators on Wall Street into our house. And this is where we are today with crypto. So that's why you're getting a lot of this. They'll drive that baby down. They'll wash you out. You're a weak hand. You're selling low, and they buy it low and say thank you. And I do exactly what they do. I follow them. I know their wallets. And so we've got the algorithmic non-stable coins. That's what we're talking about with ARK. The algorithmic non-stable coin that's based on a range. And if the price gets too high, I'll talk about that when I get to that page, how the RBS really, really works to make sure we don't get drastic ups and downs. And one of the things is this. When we talk about liquidity, liquidity is the heartbeat of any market. Liquidity is the heartbeat of the stock exchange. Liquidity is the heartbeat of gold, of silver, precious metals. It's the heartbeat of anything that's for sale, fur coats. You got to have liquidity. If there is no liquidity, there is no money on the other side. Nobody will buy and nobody will be able to sell. And so people like me, what we'll do will become liquidity providers for some of the DeFi projects that are out there in the market. And what do I mean by liquidity provider? I see a great project and I think that I can get some awesome yield from it. And we're not talking network marketing. And I see some awesome yield from it. And then what I'll do, okay, put $50,000 in token A and $50,000 in a stable coin, USDT, DAI, or what have you. And then I gain yield. And I'm providing liquidity for the ecosystem that they have. And there are some risks involved in doing that. But it's not just me. It's the guy who has $1 million doing the same thing. A guy with $10 million, he's doing the same thing. What's the difference? The difference is we are human beings. Now, human beings, we are, finicky. We'll wake up in the morning and say, okay, this one, I've been here for a year. It's not providing me as much yield. I'm going to pull out all of my liquidity. Boom, thank you for the profit. I saw this other project down the street. I'm going to go over there. There's 3 new ones over there. I'm going to get in there quickly and make yield. The problem with that model, having liquidity providers that are human beings, is that we are human beings. And we're going to actually pull out our liquidity whenever we feel like it. But what I like about the Olympus DAO model, we talk about POL, which is protocol owned liquidity. Who owns liquidity? Who are the liquidity providers? No people. It is a protocol owned liquidity. So the liquidity is actually in the code. That is wonderful. It's owned by the protocol. And the only purpose, the only use of central banks, ladies and gentlemen, is to issue currency. We're always printing dollars, always printing dollars, always printing dollars, and to regulate. Correct? That's it. That's all central bankers do. So when we go back and we look at Olympus DAO, their goal was, when they built it, was to build an on-chain central bank, right? And they've gone from V1, V2 to V3. They have evolved. And so ARK, what they did was they took the code from V3 and further improved it to create what we have now in ARK Defai. An emission model, that's really, really important. Remember, I talked a lot about how the United States government, all they do is print dollars, print dollars, print dollars. That's their emission module. But what we have here in ARK, when we're talking about decentralization, it's based on supply and demand with an effective price support. So all of these parameters are built into the code. So what is the floor price? They take the LP value in US dollars and add the treasury amount, add those babies up, divided by the current total token supply. Let's say the LP, the liquidity pool, is $70 million. Let's say the treasury has $30 million. That's $100 million. And let's say the total token supply is 10 million tokens. That is the floor price. And that is why what you guys are seeing in the back office of ARK, when they talk about the floor price being $11.70 or something of the sort, they're taking the liquidity pool, adding that up to the treasury, dividing it by the outstanding tokens, the total token supply. And then we get the floor price, okay? Now we've got our little central bank. It's actually a decentral bank, okay? And so we're issuing currency. We're regulating all of this here by code, not individuals. Let's say, for example, that the range is 5 to 7x. So we got a floor price of $10 according to this formula. And it fluctuates the price going up and down, no more than 5 to 7x. It just goes up and down. But if it goes below the floor, right, of $10, things are triggered in the code that says, hey, wait a minute. We've got to do something about this. But it's not manually controlled. It's written into the formula. Whether they're going to, if it goes too low, what they typically do, they will buy and burn. If it goes too high, then what are they going to do? They're going to sell. This is what the system does, and it does it well. So premium is too low, they will not issue any more tokens. Nothing will be minted. But if it goes too high, the premium is too high, it's going to do a control release, a control minting process. Why? The goal is to control inflation, maintain consensus, and stabilize all of our incentives. That's our yields. That's why emission module is important. How many projects you know out there have that? Not many. Not many. I'd like to thank the developers of Olympic DAO for even coming up with such a wonderful idea 4 years ago. And I tell you, people still making money over there. It's been 4 years, but it's not network marketing. It's a bunch of nerdy people over there and a bunch of crypto G's and stuff like that, and people with money. So core question number 5, is there an RBS market cap stabilization module? You'll hear this called a reserve, something or the other, but I call it a range-bound stability module. How are we going to cap the price? How are we going to make sure that our price stays in that range? Again, there is a module, a contract called RBS, okay? And so this is how it works. This is going to determine what we have in our pool, in our treasury. We've got USDT and we've got ARK token. We've got that pair sitting there in the treasury. We've got our liquidity pool sitting there looking pretty. We're at about $74 million in liquidity, depending upon how they report it. They'll say 37. They'll cut it in half and say 37 million. So if you see 37 million or you see 76 million, then, you know, because you got half of it is in the token, in ARK token, the other half is in USDT. So you hear some people say 37 million. You'll hear other people say we've got $74 million in liquidity. Same thing, okay? So here's how it's triggered. Again, let's say this is the range. And then we're going up to $40 from $30, go back down to 37, goes up and hit 50. Oops, that's too high. And so the system is going to sell the tokens, and the system is going to receive the USDT, not in the individual's wallet, but back into the system. Now it goes down. Let's say it go to 45, to 42, to 46, 45. You know, we're just going along, right? This is our range-bound stabilization method. It hits that 36. They say, oh, wait a minute. That's too low. Let's go buy some tokens and drive the price back up. And we're going to burn the ARK as well. So when we're burning the ARK, we're taking it off of the market for good, forever. We're burning it. We're putting it in a black hole, which has the potential to have the price of ARK increase in value. So boom, it starts going up. So this is what we have here. Okay. So I already talked about the token deflationary mechanism. We don't want an inflationary token at all. Bitcoin is inflationary. Many tokens out there and coins out there are indeed inflationary. Okay, that's before they knew anything about decentralized finance, right? And so we have 5 core intelligent modules. They're all smart contracts, okay? We have RCM, we have the emission module, we have the mint cap limiter, we have the range bound stability, we have the yield revenue feedback, and all of them work amongst each other. And when they're triggered, they do some stuff. You know, that's exactly what happens. So the summary again, boom, EM minting contract is public. RBS price stabilization code is public. Treasury inflow, outflow is trackable. Governance multi-sig wallet is transparent. So now we've got security, safety, and sustainability with no human intervention. How about that? Let's talk about how we got started. As a matter of fact, I'm going to open it up for questions really quickly. I'm going to stop my share. Anyone have any questions about how decentralized finance works, particularly in the Olympus DAO model? Anyone? Speak up. I know you have questions. No questions dumb. Speak up. I'll give you guys a minute or two. You guys are just simply too quiet for me. Okay, everybody knows everything. I'm going to proceed. I'm going to proceed. No hands raised up, no chats. Okay, let's go on and proceed. This is awesome, just absorbing your new presentation. Thank you very much, Jumbo. Thank you, Sin. Okay, so let's go back and let's share. Now, okay, we're sharing. Let's talk about how they launched. And remember, I told you that it is essential that we not have anyone with a bag of tokens. Not the founders, not their marketing team, not their devs, and not their family and friends, and not any top leaders. No one had anything. And so on the 25th of August, that was the Genesis node. There were some people who were paying attention, right? I barely got in. We were able to buy nodes. Those are the Genesis nodes. Many of you who read the Bible, you know what Genesis means, the first, right? The original, the start, okay? So we got the nodes. Then on the 26th, they took the money, they raised $15 million. 15 million. There's another deal out there that's actually raised 6 million. They did the same thing. So they took the $15 million and they matched that $15 million, right? 50% in ARK token, 50% USDT. What did they do with it? And they had a Binance live show doing this. But I didn't care about that. I didn't even watch it. I think I was snoring, but I went to the blockchain when I heard that it was done, and I found, yes, it is done. And so what they did was they burned it. They took $15 million they could have ran away with and went to Honolulu or something, right? But they burn it all. What do I mean by burning? In every major blockchain, Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, Polygon, Arbitrum, I can go on and on and on, right? Avalanche, right? They all have burn wallets. And if you're ever in a project that says, here's our burn wallet, we're burning tokens, and that wallet is 0xEAD2F4. No, that's their own personal wallet. That is not a burn wallet. All of the burn wallets on all blockchains look like this: 0x0000000000 on all blockchains, or 0x00000000 DEAD as in dead. Those are the only official burn wallets in all of blockchain. Okay, what that means is no one has access to take anything out of that wallet. There are no admin keys, there are no private keys, there's nothing. Those are just wallets where all of these projects, when they're doing a burn mechanism in their project, it all goes into those wallets. You can go check them out. Go check them out. 0x with a bunch of zeros and 0x a bunch of zeros and the last 4 digits, the DEAD. You'll see a lot of projects burning, 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 burning. That's how you can tell whether it was indeed burned. Okay? So now they start from scratch. Okay, now we start from scratch. We have nothing here, right? And so what they did is when they're injecting, right, that liquidity into the system, you'll see that the price that they started at, and I was trying to tell some people, they said, oh, they started at $1 or $2. No, they didn't. Nobody started at $1 or $2. And you'll see it go up, go up, go up, go up. Then on launch day, it was $21. No. On launch day, it was $30, I think, for ARK, something similar. It was about $30, $31 on launch day. Guess who? Everybody got it for $31, even the node holders. Theirs worth $31 too. Yours, if you came in on day one, $31. Everybody came in $31, $32, whatever. We're pushing the price up. It was a fair launch, an equal launch, an equitable launch. And so on the 27th, the staking started. And that's when the first minting is performed. That's when the first minting is performed. So it officially launched. They opened the token trading and the bond purchases and the staking. Okay, that's how it was launched. Fair, fair, fair. In 1 week of launch, we had 26,000 holders worldwide. 26,000. And so here's how you're going to get started. You need a decentralized wallet. And you notice I took off, they have MetaMask on here. I don't recommend MetaMask. If you want to use it, you can use it, but I don't. I don't think it's safe. That's just my opinion. So SafePal, Trust Wallet, Rabby is my favorite. Rabby is my favorite. And Token Pocket. Works like a charm, no problem. I like Rabby because they'll tell you, when you're doing a transaction, it'll say, you've never interacted with this contract before. Are you sure you want to do it? And I'll say, yeah, this one cool. Okay. Or they'll tell you everything. They do simulations on how much money is going to come out of your wallet. So if you're just doing a transaction for $100 and the simulator says you're doing a transaction for $1,000, somebody trying to get you. So it has much more feedback, which is why I like the Rabby wallet. It's on the desktop as well as on the mobile. Rabby.io. Don't click on anything from nobody. Don't click on anything in Google. Google got advertisers. The first 10 to 20 entries are advertisers, and many of them are scammers. It'll be Rabby.io. Oops, wrong one. Okay. So we're going to start our journey for only $100. But I tell people this, if you want to come in with $100, don't come in my group complaining why you're not a millionaire. Okay. But I also want you to understand this, that the price is going to fluctuate. And a lot of things internal to the system depends upon the US dollar value of your holding. So if you've got $100 worth of holding, and then tomorrow the price dips a little, you now only have $99 worth of holdings. You will not earn any rebates. It's also going to kick you out of your S1 status because you need to have $100, right? And you only have $99. So why come in for 100? Go on, throw $130 in there, $150, okay? Give yourself a little buffer room, okay? Types of income. There are 4 types of income. Okay. And so the first one is what we call bond and staking. That's that passive income for those people who just, everybody's going to be doing this. So start with $100 or $150, and you can earn profits with the compounding. You got $150, what have you, you better not be going in there talking about, I'm taking the rebates every day. Come on now. Come on now. I'm not your financial advisor, but let's use our noggins. Use our noggins. Patience is one of the key parameters of those who are in this type of a deal, or in investing, or even in stocks and bonds or gold or what have you. You got to have patience. Got to have patience. You got to do something about and modify and fix your emotional intelligence. Stop being nervous and being fearful about what if, but what if not? What if not? Okay? Manage your finances, manage your mentality, manage your emotions, and implement a disciplinarian type of a profile within yourself. Now, got that out of the way. So we've got number 2, direct bonuses. We call it the citizen reward. I'm going to go over that one. That's when you're bringing people into the community, when we're building our DIO. What's a DIO? Decentralized Autonomous Organization. You're going to be a member. You're going to participate. And if you want to really help the ecosystem, you're going to invite them. I don't care how slowly you do it, or whether you're a high-powered networker, or you just bring your family and friends. It doesn't matter. At your own pace. Don't stress out over it. So when you're inviting new citizens within our decentralized autonomous organization, us, you're going to be able to earn rewards from their daily profits as well. Rank rewards. This is what we call the Citizen Alliance. You create a network. It doesn't even have to be large. And you're going to earn up to 150% from your team's profits. And I'll show you how that works. The Guild Contribution Reward. You can earn additional bonuses on your new team investments. And the Guild Contribution Reward is ran every 12 hours, and they will only look at or consider the new volume that's come in on your team in the last 12 hours. It runs every 12 hours, okay? So that's how that works. Now, let's get to the nitty gritty. I already talked about the bonds and staking. I'll get into details on that. The bond purchasing. Some people ask me, what's the difference between purchasing the bond and staking? When you're purchasing a bond, you're not using ARK token. So don't take your USDT and swap it for ARK if you want to purchase a bond. Have your USDT in your wallet, and then you purchase a bond with your USDT. Why do people like bonds? You are buying the ARK token at a discount. So let's say if the ARK token is $10, for example, and it's not, but let's say it's $10. And let's say that you can earn 10%, right? 10% discount on your ARK tokens. So you come in, you say, okay, I'm going to put in $1,000 in USDT. 10% of that is $100. So you're going to have $1,100 earning on your behalf. Okay, and it's going to push out a ARK token, every 12 hours to you. Rebase, but part of it is your principal. That's what you get. You get discounted ARK. What I've noticed in the back office, they're ranging from 3.3 to 3.9%. You know, when they started, though, they were at the 360-day one was at around, what, 25% or something like that. So when these bonds come out, they're like treasury bonds, if you will. When these bonds come out, they typically have the highest rate. People go in there and they run and they buy them all up, right? And then over time, even though it's been only 2 weeks, then that percentage, that discount goes down, but it's still a discount. So what they do is when you put your $1,000 in, the system they create an LP token, liquidity pool token. It takes 50% of your USDT and hold that in USDT. 50% will be held in ARK. That is that pair, that liquidity pair. They're going to take it and deposit it into the liquidity pool. Then they're going to take that entire asset and inject it into the into the protocol owned liquidity and permanently lock it in the black hole. And all of the AS that you're going to be earning is going to be minted from the minter, minted every 12 hours. That's where it's coming from. Okay. Now, with single token staking, that's ARK. That's when you have your DAI in your wallet. You come in, you click on swap, and you swap your DAI for ARK. You don't get a token purchase discount here, though. You do get rebates and compound interest. It's triggered every 12 hours. Okay, so you're going to get the yield, and your yield and your principal is released linearly on a daily average basis, actually on an every 12-hour basis. Yields can be claimed or compounded. But in both cases, you're actually getting yield compounded as well. Okay, now let's talk about the bond purchase. You'll see that if you say, I want to buy a bond, and daily ROI is 0.70, right? That means your 12-hour ROI is 0.35%. I just cut it in half. So what that means is you get an extra discount of 5%. Remember, I was telling you the discount you will get on ARK tokens in the bond purchase arena. And that is on an APY, you're going to get up to 1,181.4%. Someone asked the question, wow, I'll get that in 30 days. No, that is the APY, that's annual. Okay, so come on, chillax. If you're for 90 days, you get the 0.8%, up to 0.8%. 180 days, you get up to 0.9%. 360 days, you get up to 1% a day, divided by 2 to see what you're making for 12 hours. 1 divided by 2 is 0.5% maximum you're going to get every 12 hours. And you see the percentage you've got here. This is why I believe it's important that you understand that compounding is indeed the seventh wonder of the world. What is another saying that says, if you're not compounding, if someone is making money off of you. Okay, but you make your own strategy, do as you will. I have my strategy, right? And at 360 days, you can earn up to a 25% discount on ARK tokens. Now, let's talk about the token staking. Same thing, every 12 hours. Here, they're giving us the numbers. Now, someone can come in, the flexible staking, right? Flexible staking, there is no time frame. You can buy flexible staking, let it sit there. You're going to get 0.6%. Okay, daily, or up to 0.6% daily, or up to 0.3% every 12 hours. The minimum amount of time that you can hold it in the flexible staking is 24 hours. Do that for 24 hours, you know, you're not going to get much of anything, okay? And you know that. Stop playing. So, but you can just let it sit there. 1 day, 2 days, 1 week, 3 months, 1 year, 5 years, right? There's no time frame around the flexible staking, okay? But just remember, it'll be 790.6% will be your annual APY, will be your APY. And so you see the bonds, you get a better APY than you will with the token staking for the flexible staking. Now let's talk about the fixed staking. And here, the flexible, you can take it out whenever you want, okay? Both your principal and what you've earned. But with the fixed, which is just happened to be a favorite of mine, you have a 30-day duration. You can earn a daily ROI up to 0.7% or up to 0.35% every 12 hours. 90 days, 180 days, 360 days. Of course, the more you stake, the longer you stake, the higher your potential for increased yield. And so you see here, it's the same with the fixed staking. The numbers are the same in terms of APY. Okay, you don't get a discount, but with the bonds, you get the discount. So you guys should go back there on occasion, look and see if the discount changed. Even getting the 3.5% discount is better than nothing. So I have both. I like both of them. I do flexible as part of my strategy. Talk about that later. Now, let's talk about the citizen referral reward. Invite at least one valid user. What is a valid user? A guy or girl, and I like to say member, so I'm going to change that. It's a guy or girl who has $100 or more in holdings. Now, their price goes down. They put that $100 in there. They got $99. They're not valid user. Let's say you got 3 people on your front line, right? And you're ranking. Once their amount goes down under $100, they are not valid. They are not active. That means you only have 2 people on your front line. Be cognizant of that. Let people know that when they say, I want to come on board with $99 or $102. You know, we got to get smart about this and maximize our yield, maximize our compensation, and help people do the same. Okay, so you're going to get a 10% direct referral reward. Now, pay attention. You're not getting 10% on what Muhammad you brought on board. He comes in, he drops $10,000. You're not going to get $1,000. This is the problem with a lot of projects that are out there in network marketing, and product-based network marketing too. You bring in Muhammad, and Muhammad spends $10,000, you get $1,000, and then your sponsor gets $900, your sponsor gets $800, sponsor all the way up. By that time, that $10,000 that he wanted to stake with, they took 60% and paid the network. 40% went where? That's what he has to stake. But they don't do that. They say you're still staking $10,000 and you're going to get paid yield on $10,000. The math isn't mathing and it's not sustainable. And so instead, you're getting 10% of the daily earnings, every 12 hours actually, 10% of the daily earnings. Okay, and it's not one time. It's not one time. It's every day. 10%, 10%, 10%, 10%, 10%, right? Every 12 hours. That's how that works. So let's say you bring in Jane. She put in $5,000. Let's assume that she's getting 1% a day. Okay, that will be $50 she's getting, but you brought her on board. So you're going to get 10% of that $50, which is $5. $5 every day. $5 every day, $5 every day. I'd rather have the everyday money than trying to get that 10% on some purchase. Here's another person you brought in, Gary. Gary says, I'm going to put in $10,000. So at 1% a day, he's going to get $100, right? Right? 1% of 10,000 is $100. You're going to get 10% of everything that he earns every day on his daily earnings. So he's getting 100, you're going to get $10, $10, $10, $10. And that's just 2 people. That's just 2 people, right? So that's how the citizen referral reward works. Okay, let's talk about the rank rewards or the citizen alliance reward. You're going to continue to create your network. There's no rush. There's no hurry, at your own pace. Right? I'm always rushing. I'm always in a hurry. That's just my nature and my personality. Go, 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 right? But it's all up to you. Create your network. You're going to earn up to 150% from your team's profit. So let's talk about how that works. Okay. Now, you brought in John, Judy, Muhammad, and Scott. Okay? And when they determine what your rank is, and this citizen alliance reward, they take your largest leg and throw it away. It's not going to be considered to determine what your rank is. Pay attention. You're going to always earn on all of your legs, but for the sake of determining your rank, they won't consider your largest leg, but you always get paid on that. So it's not like they're throwing away money. Okay. Now, you've got 10,000 is your biggest leg, right? Because here's 3,000, here's 8,000, here's 9,500. The biggest leg is 10,000. They discard that in terms of determining your rank. So you got a guy or a gal, they got $3,000 here, $8,000 here, and this is their whole leg. It could go all the way down, could just be them, who knows? And this one has 9,500. They add that up, 9 and 8, 17, 17,500, $20,500. Now, you know that you're an S1 for sure. But in order to become an S1, you got to have $100 or more in personal holdings. Put $100 in there and wake up tomorrow. Notice it's $98. Notice that now you're not getting anything. Be careful. I'm going to keep reiterating that. Be careful what you're putting in, right? Be careful of that, because this is the dollar amount and it's not the ARK amount. That's $100. How do you become an S1? Hold $100 or more. You have $5,000 on your weak leg. I don't know why they call it total ordinary staking, but this is what you need on all of your weakest leg combined. $5,000. That's easy. All you need is 2 direct, personally enrolled folks, and you'll get 5 to 10% will be your profit ratio. I'm going to talk about that a bit. You want to be an S2? You got to have $500, not $499. You got to have $500, because if you have $499, you're going to be an S1 when you wake up. Okay, so you got $500 and USD amount of ARK working in the system, right? $20,000 you've got to have on your smallest leg, like this guy here. 8, 9, 10, 11 plus 9, 11, 9 is 20, 20,500. This guy here is actually an S2 if he's got $500. Bam. Their ranks are easy. And all you need is 3 folks to earn between 10 and 20%. Let's go all the way down. Let's go to S5. You need $3,000 that's working for you, okay, or more. $400,000 on your smallest legs combined, 15 personal referrals, 25 to 50%. Now, here's what I found from some of my Asian friends and some of my colleagues. What they do is, let's say you want to be an S1, and you want to be an S1 quickly. You need $6,100. You need $6,100, 7 wallets. You could do it yourself if you like. Okay, so I'm going to show that as well, because you could do it on your own, or you can do it with people, or it can be a combination. It's all fair. Okay, but let's talk about the Citizen Alliance reward, the rank rewards again, because the question is always asked, how can they pay 150%? Well, you know it's not going to work like that. So let me tell you how that works. I already showed you that you brought in someone for $5,000. They're making $50 a day. You're going to get 10% of that is $5. You brought somebody in that's $10,000. They're making $100 a day. You're going to get $10 a day. And they got their own folks, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All that's going to roll up to you and be considered all of your volume. Okay, now let's see here. Oh, wait, did I have duplicates here? Yeah, this is what I wanted to show you. I think I have duplicates there. Okay, let's say, for example, you're an S1 and you're getting that 10% on all of these guys, 10%. You're getting 10% also here. So everything is just fine and dandy, right? Now, because, and your guy also is getting 10% from his team. Now, let's say, for example, you're an S1 and you've got a guy or girl on your team who beat you in rank. She's S2. So in her leg, you get 5%. You don't get 10%. You follow me? Because she beat you in rank. Okay? Now, if you have an S3 over here, you're getting that 5% from all of her volume in her team. Remember? All of the volume in her team. S3, and you're an S1, you get 0. But it's not. You get 0. You just don't get anything on this S3 leg in terms of the rank rewards. Because this guy, they call it skip 1 level. I call it if someone is 2 levels ahead of you, right? Then you don't get anything. You got some S4s and S5s over here, right? You're not going to get anything in their leg. So catch up. But you're not going to lose everything, because these are going to be rare occurrences anyway. You're always going to get a leg that's going to run away on you. We're used to that. You're always going to get a power hitter that's going to run away on you. So you can spend some time helping your team, or you can spend some time trying to chase your team. And I'm not chasing my team. They're more than welcome to be ranked higher than me. I'm happy that they are, because I still earn on them. I still earn on them here. The guild contribution reward. They love these words. Guild, team, network, whatever you want to call it. Every 12 hours they settle this, and it took me a while to wrap my head around this. You have to be titled in order to be eligible for the guild contribution reward. You're going to be earning, they're going to take 5 to 10% of the daily token yield. They're going to take that and put it in a bucket every 12 hours. So what the formula is, personal investment coefficient times the numerator is new business divided by the denominator, which is total business. Okay. Now multiply it by that 5 to 10% of the total daily token yield. Okay. That they choose. It'll be 5 to 10%. It'll be put in a bucket. What does that mean? First of all, what is the coefficient? It's dependent upon your holdings. So if you're holding $100 to $999, your personal coefficient is the lowest, which is 0.8. 1,000 to 2,909 is 0.85. All the way 10,000 to 15,000 actually is 10,000 or more. Then your coefficient is 1. That's the best one. Okay, so you put a 1 here in the formula. Now, what do I mean by new business? New business in your team, in your network, for the past 12 hours. They look at it every 12 hours. It refreshes every 12 hours. They divide that by the total amount of business that you have. Okay? And then they multiply that by the number of tokens that they've distributed. Okay? The number of tokens that they distributed and yield to all of us, right? Now, here's an example. You've got 10K running for you, your personal holding amount. You got $20,000 in new business during the last 12 hours. You've got $100,000 in total business. Multiply that. Let's assume that there were 5,000 tokens were distributed. If so, you're going to get $1,000 reward. That's the math. So 2 over 10 is 1/5, which is 20%. Times 5,000, right? That's $1,000. Okay. And so as we grow our communities and sub-communities, the more new business we're going to have every 12 hours, but also the more total business we're also going to have, which is fine and dandy. And could you imagine getting this every 12 hours? Hey, I'm not mad at them. Let's talk a little bit about the token release and the withdrawal. Okay, if indeed, when indeed you want to redeem, if you will, your principal, this has nothing to do with it. When you redeem pieces of your principal, because every day, every 12 hours, you're getting rebates, which many of you know as interest, and a little bit of your principal is coming out as well. When you click that you want to redeem your principal, guess what happens? Let's say you got $1,000 working for you. You redeem, let's say, $2 worth of your principal. Now you got $998 working for you. Do you want to do that? That's up to you. You want to decrease your principal, right? I truly don't. Now, you can do that, and there's no fees, no withdrawal fees, no burning, no nothing on your principal at any time. But with all of your bonuses, and all of the rebates that you're earning in terms of interest, when you click on claim, you're going to see a page that's going to come up, and it's going to say, how quickly do you want it? You want it immediately? Pay 20% burn rate. So what happens is, what I did was, I test everything before I do anything. Plus, I have multiple accounts. So what I did was, I said, okay, let me see how this baby works. Do I need the full, if I want to withdraw $500, do I need the full $500 in USDT in my wallet? Let me test. Or do I just need 20% in my wallet? Let me test it. So I tested, I claimed $500. What they did was, they said, hey, you need 20% of $500, which is $100. You need that in your wallet in USDT. Okay, I get how it works. Fine. So I gave them the 20%. They, I clicked it. They don't take anything out of my wallet. I signed, I confirmed, gave them the 20%, right, in USDT. They said, thank you very much, right? And then we got a 12-hour wait period. Got a 12-hour wait period. 12 hours later, remember, you still got that $500. It's not $500 minus the 20%. You still got $500 waiting for you. Right? And so I said, okay, so 12 hours later, a little button pops up. I click it. I sign, I confirm. And they say, what? Wait. You got to have $500 in USDT in your wallet. Okay, I get it. No problem. If you don't have the $500, maybe do 100. You can always come back in and just recycle until you get all 500 of it, right? And so I said, okay, got to have $500 in USDT. Fine and dandy. Then it was successful. And that's when it goes to the turbo and all of that, right? So you're ready to rock and roll, because what they're going to do is, even though they took the $500, they're going to give you $500 worth of ARK back. And then 12 hours later, you get another $500 worth of ARK. So it doesn't stop at just swapping $500 of USDT for $500 of ARK. No, they still owe you $500, and they'll send that to you. I hope that's clear. If not, I'm going to open it up for Q&A anyway. So write that down if you need any help with, we need more clarification. Same thing with the 20 days and the 30 days and the 60 days, you pay nothing. Because what they do is, with that 15% or that 10% or that 20%, they actually burn the token. So they take that supply off the market, which contributes to the ecosystem. Back to support, they have part of it going to community development, and then part of it goes to Ethereum. If people say, how does Ethereum come into play? It's allocated to the Project Foundation for Ecosystem Development. And that's a whole nother story, and we'll wait for when ARKland launches. I don't like to talk about things that haven't launched. But remember, I talked about the lending and borrowing protocol that they're going to be developing, and some other AI type financial tools, right? Ethereum is going to be used in that lending as collateral for the lending and the borrowing. So we just let that be. Yeah, we just let that be. Okay, finally, that's how it's done. That's how it's done. And of course, you can go to DeckScreener. Is it DeckScreener.com? Yeah, DeckScreener.com. Type in ARK or copy and paste the token address, right, that you can find in the group underneath contracts and audits, under that topic folder. And you can see, let me go back. And you can see, for example, this is an old one where number of transaction volume makers, where's the liquidity? This is the price was $38.75. We had $54.8 million in liquidity now. Then we have 76 point something right now. So our liquidity pool is growing. These type of projects, the goal is to have a lot of liquidity. Many people are looking at the price. The price is secondary at this stage in the game. The goal is build the largest liquidity pool ever. And then we're home free, right? We're home free. So we're already home free, but it's even more delicious. They have meetings and seminars. Many of them are in Asia. Many of the meetings and seminars in Asia, those guys are jamming out there. I've met some of these guys. You've got the Indonesians, you got the Chinese, you got the Indians, they're jamming. We are bringing this to the Western countries. That is our job here, to open this baby up for global expansion. And of course, some of you know this and some of you may not, but we are having an event in Dubai. You have to be ranked. All lodgings paid for, all food paid for, and we're just gonna have a great time. In terms of your flight, everybody book their tickets. If you're an S1 at the event, they'll give you $300 back on your ticket. If you're an S2, they'll give you $500 back on your ticket. No, $700 back on your ticket. And if you're an S3, it's all free. They'll give you a full 100% reimbursement at the event in Dubai. We're going to have a wonderful yacht party. We're going to learn a lot. We're going to learn about DeFi, right? It's going to be an interactive session. They don't just focus on a comp plan. See, that I think that's the problem with a lot of projects out there. They are sticklers for education. Now, I've got people like Jumbo Sin, who's going to be doing, taking some of what I've learned and what he's learned on his own as well. And he's going to be doing Saturday trainings. He's also going to be training on mindset. You've got, I know Carl, you've got him. He does his training. Some of you guys are familiar with it because you've been there, which my time zone is quite different, right? Then you got me here, which I'm a strict stickler for the technology and DeFi. You've got Daniel. Daniel is always doing something. He's got the crypto toolkit, the toolbox. you know, the multiple streams of income. So we all have our different approaches, but it's imperative that we are teaching. And so they're going to do a lot of that, a lot of DeFi teaching. Then of course they're going to go into comp plan. We're going to have an open, we can raise our hands, we can ask questions and all of that. Then we're going to go out and let our hair down, go to the yacht party, and we're going to bounce a bit. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I tell everybody, come on, S1, get to S2. You S2, get to S3. And don't stop there. And do not stop there. And I tell you, there's going to be many more of these. Some people say it's too early. No, it's not. This is like a pre-launch, if you will, or in a launch event. So we're going to have a lot of fun in Dubai. That's going to be October 3rd through the 6th. I know we're a little pushing it on time, but that's October 3rd through the 6th. Again, they're booking everything now. So we're going to have a great time out there. I'm looking forward to meeting many of you there. And remember, I am not a financial advisor. I'm here to teach. I'm here to inform. And you know that everything in life carries risk, even your relationships. Sometimes you spend 10 years with the same, you know, guy or gal, and it just doesn't work out, right? Everything carries risk. Now, thank you guys, but patience is the key to financial success. And with that said, I'm going to stop the share. Going to open this baby up. Anyone have any questions? Yeah, Jumbo is laughing. What is the cutoff date to join Dubai? Is it transferable? No, it's not transferable. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Nope. We haven't signed up yet, but they know who's S1, who's S2, who's S3. So we'll start gathering that list. But you're safe. You're fine and dandy. Everyone is fine and dandy. We're all going to get in there. But that's just an announcement, but more details coming soon. So I just tell people prepare for October 3rd, October 6th to get out there. We'll have a ride taking us from the airport to the lodgings, to the venue. And the first day, we're going to chillax and do networking, laugh with one another, have a drink or two, eat some food. And that's what the first day is going to be. And then after that, it's all education and full attention to what we have here. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Thank you very much, Gina. Anybody want to raise their hand and ask some questions? Come on. Ask some questions, baby. You know me. I like to answer questions. Okay. Okay, let's see here. So I don't see any Q&As. I don't see anything in chat. Will this presentation be made available to us? Yep, as soon as I get off of this Zoom. As soon as I get off of this Zoom, singing. Yes, sweet. So, okay. And I guess that's it. So with that said, and you know what? I'm going to make people, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to talk to the advisors, the consultants of ARK and say, you know what? If people don't ask questions on my webinar, let's make sure they don't get to go to Dubai. Okay. With that said, I am out of here. Look at him. No, yeah, you got to ask questions. But I'll talk to you guys later. I'll see you.
Awesome. Thanks, Queen. That was great.
Yeah.
Thanks so much. That was great.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And you know, I like you guys. I know many of you guys probably know Cian. He's going by Jumbo over here with the Chinese letters. And I wish he would show his face, but that's okay. He's Superman. So you see an S. There he is. We've been knowing each other for a heck of a long time. It's been a long time back in the day. And he is one who's going to be doing the trainings on Saturday. And he's going to be training everything from DeFi to how to find out whether a project is a sucky one or not. DeFi, he's going to also be training on your traditional old school. How do you bring people into a deal? He's going old school on you guys. And I think it's going to be very, very, very valuable. So all of the particulars will be coming out pretty soon. Thank you very much for volunteering. So I'm getting more and more people who are going to be helping me and taking the load off of me. And I'd like to say thank you for that.
Well, what I want to do, Queen, is on Saturday, I want to be able to bring back all the old, like, what do you do next? We have an amazing opportunity here, but a lot of people don't know where to go next. Like, how do I talk to people in a party? How do I give a 2-minute elevator pitch? What's a 50-minute? How do I invite people to the next call? So we want to gather a lot of as much momentum as we can, and also to use these functions, especially when in Dubai. No, it's never too early. I think
Yeah.
that's where I've been in networking since 1983. Yeah, I know I look like I'm 30, but I've been doing it for a while now, and what I've learned is you grow so much during these events. And I think you and I, we met each other, I think 4 years ago for the first time live. We've known each other longer than that. But you get to rub elbows with the people that know. You meet the people who are the developers, and all it's doing is creating more confidence in you, so that when you go back, like, you're a monster, and you grow
Yes.
from S1 to S4, S3, S5, because
Just
you've
like
met
that.
people who've already done it, right? So I'm going to be there as an S3, and I'm
Yes.
looking to go S4, S5, and sky's the limit. But
Yeah, I was talking to
remember, it's
Daniel about
also the
that.
people who
He says,
develop
what
this
if I'm more
model.
than the F3? I said, you don't get any extra, but do it anyway. You make more money.
Exactly. So bring back the old school, all the good stuff from before. So there's a lot of people here who are not builders or don't use social media. I'm one of those types. I'm very old school, face to face, three-way calls. But I like to think that I've made it to this point to share what I want to share. So it'll be Saturday morning, so that we can get people from Asia there as well,
Yes.
around 10 o'clock. So hopefully we'll see all of you there.
Looking forward
can
to
go.
it. Really. That sounds
Yes.
awesome.
Yes.
It's gonna
And
be-
of
it's gonna be
course, we've
great.
got
I
canaries
think,
go on.
yeah, well, we all have something to bring to the table. Everyone.
Yes.
And I love Daniel, I love Queen, but we need more people to step up.
Yes.
More hands create light work. So
Yes.
let's do that.
And this is the
And
time. This is the
'cause
time. And on
yeah,
that note,
you-
I'd like to give a shout out to Canaries. She helps me out with a lot of things. Sometimes she reprimands me, like my mother, but it's okay.
Oh, here we go.
To keep me straight, but she's always my host here. We're always talking privately. She makes suggestions for me. So I'd like to give her a thumbs up for that. And I lended an offer out to her, so I can kind of get her involved in doing presentations as well. And I'd like to say thank you for all you're doing, Canaries.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much. I
Thanks,
appreciate
Mary.
it. And
Yeah,
my
and of course
pleasure.
we've got Gina.
Well,
We got
yeah,
Gina. She's that excitement factor.
Gina's always here to help. Always, always. Canaries is very, very helpful. I'll never forget her on the day we launched ARK. She was right there for all of us.
She
Yes.
was.
Thank
She
you.
really was,
Yes.
which is totally wonderful. And with
Thank
that
you so
said,
much.
yeah, with that said, I'm going to sign out here. And this was really, really wonderful. And I appreciate it. And I will put this PowerPoint presentation in the group. It's probably a half hour after I get off this call. Thank you guys, and enjoy the
Thank
rest of your
you.
evening.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Peace and love,
Appreciate you
guys.
so much.
Okay, bye.